Have you ever felt the quiet kind of power that doesn't ask to be seen, but somehow changes the whole room? Have you ever noticed how your calm exposes noise in others without a single word? And what if the most unforgettable presence isn't loud at all, but simply unshakably clear? Welcome to time-tested advice, where ancient philosophy meets the modern world. I'm your host, Alfred. Let's get started. Power is loud when it's insecure, but the quiet kind, that's the one people never forget. There's something about a Sigma female that men just can't shake off, even if they can't explain it. She's not loud. She's not trying to impress anyone. She's not adjusting herself to be more liked or more wanted. And that's exactly what makes her unforgettable. She doesn't realize that her silence speaks louder than most people's noise. She moves through life with a kind of calm that makes others feel exposed. Her focus, her refusal to be part of the performance, the way she sets her own standards without preaching them out loud, these are things that men notice, even if she never says a word. Most Sigma females have no clue they're being watched with this level of curiosity. Not in a shallow, surface-level way, but in a what is it about her kind of way. It's not about beauty or charm. It's the depth. It's the way she doesn't need attention, but always manages to draw it. The way her presence makes people feel like they're in the presence of someone who answers only to herself. To every Sigma woman out there, you don't need to try harder. You're not missing anything. If anything, the world is still catching up to the way you move. You're not confusing. You're just unshakably clear in a world that runs on confusion and that clarity. It's the very thing men notice, even when you think no one's watching. Let's dive in the rare gems. Number 1. Her eye contact feels like a test. There's something about her eye contact that men can't quite explain. It doesn't feel romantic. It doesn't feel soft. It feels like a scan, like she's quietly reading everything you're not saying. When she looks at someone, it's not for attention or to charm her way in. It's to study, to understand, to dissect. And what most men don't realize until it's too late is that she's already formed an impression. Without asking a single question, her stare isn't aggressive or loud. It's still, but it's still in the way. Deep water is still, there's depth there. You just can't see the bottom. And that uncertainty, that's what gets under people's skin, because most folks are used to attention that flatters. But when she looks at someone, it doesn't flatter. It examines. It looks for patterns, for motive, for truth. Let's be honest, this rattles a lot of men, especially the ones who rely on charm or surface-level confidence around her. Those tricks fall flat. She doesn't get lost in appearances. She looks past them straight into what's real. If there's a weakness hiding behind a smile or insecurity behind arrogance, she will spot it without even trying. That alone makes her unforgettable. She doesn't do this to intimidate. It's just how she's built. She's trained herself to watch first, speak later, to read the room before deciding what's worth her time. And for the man on the receiving end of that silent evaluation, it can feel like a test, not one with right or wrong answers, but one where how you show up reveals who you really are. Her eye contact is not about flirting. It's about filtering. And if you ever find her looking into you for longer than a moment, understand she's already 5 moves ahead, and she's just deciding whether you belong in the next frame of her story. Number 2, her unavailability isn't a strategy, it's her life. Her unavailability is not some clever trick to gain attention. It's not about playing hard to get or making anyone chase her. It's just the truth of how she lives. Her days are full. Her energy is guarded, and her peace is not something she gives away lightly. She's not waiting around for someone to come along and impress her. She's already deep into her own path, focused on her goals, and busy building a life that makes her proud, whether anyone's watching or not. Men notice this quickly, even if they don't fully understand it. She doesn't respond with urgency. She doesn't linger in conversations that go nowhere. She doesn't drop everything just to be available. And that makes some people uncomfortable because they're used to quick access, but with her, you learn fast that access has to be earned. It's not a defense mechanism. It's simply how she values herself. Think about it. When someone has worked hard to get their peace, they won't risk it for shallow connections. If a man's approach feels rushed, inconsistent, or filled with ego, she'll politely keep her distance. She doesn't need to be rude. She just quietly disappears from anything that feels like a waste of time. Her time as a guard dog, not a welcome mat. And that boundary makes her magnetic because real value doesn't scream to be seen. It simply lives in its own rhythm. She doesn't post for validation, doesn't chase calls that never come, and doesn't entertain people who treat her like an option. A lot of men confuse her distance with arrogance, but it's not arrogance, it's self-respect. She knows what drains her and what feeds her. She knows the cost of giving energy to the wrong things. And once a man sees that her unavailability isn't an act, it's simply her life, he realizes he's either going to rise to her level or watch her keep walking. Number 3. Their calm is not just attractive, it's disarming. Her calm doesn't just make her stand out, it stops people, especially men, not because she's trying to impress anyone, but because her peace hits different in a world where everyone's fighting to be loud, seen, and validated. She doesn't rush to speak. She doesn't force herself into conversations just to be noticed. She listens, she thinks, and when she finally responds, it's with the kind of stillness that makes everyone else question their own noise. Men don't always know how to react to this. Some think it's confidence, others think it's mystery. But what they're really feeling is the kind of calm that comes from knowing who you are and what you're not willing to entertain. And that level of self-awareness, that kind of emotional control, it's rare. It throws people off balance because it doesn't follow the script. Most people are reactive. A little tension and they explode. A little silence and they panic. But not her. She holds herself together even when the world around her starts to crack. That kind of inner stability makes men pause, not in fear, but in awe. Take a simple disagreement, for example, where others might raise their voice, get defensive, or throw in 100 unnecessary words. She stays composed. She says what she means, nothing more. She doesn't let emotion hijack her logic, and men notice that it forces them to look inward, to realize how much they themselves have yet to master. Her calm is not performative. It's earned. She's been through things that broke others. She just chose not to let those things turn her into chaos, and when men meet her, that calm doesn't just attract them, it exposes them. It reminds them of how scattered they've been, and suddenly they're not just interested in her, they're questioning themselves. That's the power of real calm. It doesn't demand attention. It changes the room without trying. Number 4. Her unavailability isn't a strategy, it's her life. Her unavailability confuses people, especially men who are used to attention being handed out easily. She doesn't respond quickly. She doesn't jump into conversations that go nowhere. And no, she's not trying to be mysterious or play some clever dating game. That's not her style. She's just genuinely busy, living a life with purpose, and she doesn't make space for what doesn't serve her. When men meet her, they feel the difference. She's not cold, she's just focused. Her mind is already full with ideas, plans, projects, and self-growth. She's not sitting around waiting for someone to notice her. She's out building something that matters to her. And when a man tries to enter her space, he quickly realizes he needs to bring more than charm. He needs to bring peace. He needs to bring purpose. He needs to bring purpose. Her time is protected. Think of it like a house with no open-door policy. She doesn't entertain visitors who just want to look around. You can't just show up with smooth talk and expect to be let in. There's a whole process, and it starts with respect, not just for her, but for your own time too. She's had seasons where she let people in too quickly. She knows what it costs to give energy to the wrong ones, so now she filters. Not to be rude, but to protect her peace. If you're inconsistent, she'll go quiet. If your words don't match your actions, she'll step back. If you're not serious, you won't even make it past small talk. And here's the part most men don't expect. This only makes her more desirable. Because in a world full of people desperate to be seen, her ability to say no without flinching makes her unforgettable. It's not a strategy, it's simply how she lives. She doesn't chase noise. She chooses clarity and that kind of discipline. That's rare. Number 5, she doesn't judge, but she sees everything. She doesn't interrupt. She doesn't rush to give her opinion. She sits quietly, taking in everything, the tone, the tension, the hesitation. Between words. She's not trying to catch anyone off guard. That's not her goal. But the truth is, Sigma females have this quiet way of observing that makes people feel completely exposed, even when they're saying all the right things. Men especially feel this. They're not being judged. She's not scanning them for flaws or comparing them to some perfect standard. No, it's deeper than that. She's reading them. Not just the words they say, but the pauses, the posture, the way their eyes shift when they speak, and it gets under their skin because they can feel it. They know she's paying attention in a way most people never do. And what's even more powerful, she never throws it in their face. She won't call them out or put them on the spot. But her silence makes them reflect. It makes them ask themselves, did she just see through me? Most of the time, yes, she did. She just won't say it. Take this, for example. A man trying to impress her might boast about his achievements, talk big, try to seem important, but she doesn't respond with wide eyes or applause. She just watches, not out of boredom, but because she knows what real substance sounds like. And if it's not there, she picks up on it almost instantly. This ability to quietly observe without needing to react is what makes her powerful. People want to impress her, but they can't figure out how men want to be seen by her. But they're not sure if they passed some unspoken test. It's not about judgment, it's about insight. And when a Sigma female sees through you, it doesn't feel like criticism, it feels like exposure. And that alone leaves a lasting mark. Number 6, her walk isn't seductive, it's sovereign. Her walk is different. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't scream, "Look at me." There's no show, no performance. She's not walking to impress anyone. She's simply moving through the world like someone who knows exactly who she is and where she's going. And that hits different, especially for men who are used to confidence being loud or dressed up. When she walks, it's not with a sway meant to attract. It's with a steadiness that says she doesn't owe anyone softness or showmanship. She moves with purpose, not rushed, not slow, just deliberate. Her posture speaks without saying a word. It says she's grounded, unshaken, focused. Men notice it even if they don't know what to call it. Some call it intimidating. Others call it mysterious. But deep down, what they're feeling is power. Not the kind that overpowers, the kind that simply is. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for approval. It just exists, and everyone feels it. She could be walking through a grocery store or across a parking lot. It doesn't matter. There's something about the way she moves that sticks in people's minds, not because she's trying to stand out, but because she couldn't blend in even if she tried. And the haunting part, it's not her looks. It's the aura behind her steps, that invisible, unshakable energy that says, I belong here. I belong everywhere I go. It's the absence of need in her walk that makes people lean in. Because the truth is, she's not walking to be seen. She's walking like someone who already knows her worth. And that's the kind of presence men remember long after she's gone. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, say hello, and consider subscribing to our channel. And if you'd like to support our channel further, become a member by clicking the Join button below number 7. She's beautiful in a way that can't be coached. She's not the kind of beautiful you see on magazine covers. She doesn't need perfect angles, flawless makeup, or curated outfits to stand out. Her beauty isn't loud. It doesn't chase compliments. It's the kind that sneaks up on you, the kind you feel more than you see. Men often don't realize it. At first, she might not fit their usual type, but the longer they're around her, the harder she is to forget. There's something about the way she carries herself that makes her presence feel valuable, not because she's trying to be noticed, but because she moves with quiet certainty. That's what pulls people in. It's not in the way she looks. It's in the way she is, the way she sits with confidence without needing to take up extra space, the way she says no without guilt, the way she never chases attention, yet somehow always gets it. That level of self-respect can't be taught, and it definitely can't be faked. Men notice that she's not seeking approval. She's not trying to impress anyone, and because of that, she ends up leaving a stronger impression than women who do everything to be admired. Her beauty is in her boundaries. It's in her honesty. It's in her ability to walk away from anything that doesn't feel right. You can't coach that kind of beauty. You can't package it or explain it with filters and edits. It's raw. It's real. And it makes people stop and rethink everything they thought they knew about attraction, because in a world full of trying too hard, she's a reminder that true beauty is built, not borrowed, and once someone sees it in her, nothing else really compares. 8. Her voice is rarely heard, but always remembered. She doesn't talk just to fill space. She doesn't jump into every conversation or feel the need to prove she has something to say. In fact, most of the time she listens closely. While others are busy talking over each other, she's watching, reading between the lines, quietly picking up what most people miss. And when she finally does speak, everyone remembers her voice isn't loud, but it's powerful, not because of how it sounds, but because of what it delivers. There's no fluff, no unnecessary build-up. She gets straight to the point, and somehow it cuts through the noise like a clean blade. She doesn't dress her words up with sugar. She tells the truth, calmly, clearly, and it hits harder because of that. Men especially notice this, not in a dramatic way, but in a "why am I still thinking about what she said days later" kind of way. She might only speak a few sentences, but those sentences stay with you, because when she talks, she says something that matters. And because she speaks so rarely, it's not just to be heard, it's because something needed to be said. For example, in a group where everyone's complaining about something petty, she might drop one sharp, honest line that reframes the whole issue, and suddenly the room goes quiet. Not because she demanded it, but because truth has that effect. She's not trying to win arguments or dominate conversations. She simply doesn't waste words, and that makes every word she does say feel like it carries weight. In a world where people talk endlessly just to feel important, her silence builds mystery, and her words, they land like truths you didn't know you needed. That's why people remember her voice, not because it's loud, but because it never speaks unless it matters. Number 9, she doesn't follow trends. She makes people rethink them. She's not the type to jump on the latest trends or copy what everyone else is doing just to feel relevant. While the world rushes to keep up with what's hot, she stays grounded in what feels real to her. She doesn't dress, speak, or think like she's trying to fit in. And that's exactly what makes her unforgettable men notice it immediately, even if they don't have the words for it. She's not chasing the current vibe. She is the vibe. While others are busy following what's popular, she makes people pause and ask themselves if they even like the things they're chasing. That's the kind of presence she brings, quiet but questioning, subtle but game-changing. It could be something as simple as the way she dresses, while everyone else is trying to look on trend. She wears what suits her, and somehow it looks better, not because it's flashy or designer, but because she wears it with conviction that alone makes men rethink what style even means. Even in conversation, she's never repeating what she saw online or trying to sound up to date. She says what she believes, whether it's trending or not. And when she speaks with that much clarity, it makes people reconsider what they thought was popular wisdom. She's not here to be part of the crowd. She's here to be herself fully, and that has more influence than any trend ever will. She might not go viral, but her presence sticks. She's not here to ride waves. She's here to question the ocean. And that alone makes her stand out in a way that lingers. Number 10, she's quietly competitive, but only with herself. She doesn't need to outshine anyone. She doesn't measure her worth by how many people notice her, follow her, or applaud her. While others are locked in invisible battles for attention, she's focused on something completely different, beating her last version. That's the only competition that matters to her. Men admire this more than they realize, because while the world is full of people trying to one-up each other, she's not even playing that game. She's building, she's improving, she's learning quietly, steadily, and with a kind of discipline that doesn't need to be broadcast. You won't catch her bragging about what she's doing. You'll just notice the difference over time. One day, she's learning a skill. A few months later, she's mastered it, not because she wanted to show off, but because she told herself she would, and she keeps her promises to herself. That kind of self-respect is magnetic. Men sense it. They may not always know how to respond to it, but they feel it. She's not looking to compete with anyone else's path because she already knows her lane. She's not threatened by someone else's success because she's too busy watering her own ground. Even in relationships, this mindset shows she doesn't try to win someone over by proving she's better than other women. She just shows up as herself fully, and if that's not enough, she's fine with walking away, not out of pride, but out of peace. This kind of internal focus creates a presence that's hard to ignore because it shows in how she moves, in how she speaks, in how she keeps showing up, even when no one's clapping. Her ambition is personal, her growth is private, but the results, those speak louder than anything else. Number 11, she keeps secrets even from those who think they're close. There's a part of her that no one ever gets to touch. Even the people who think they know her best eventually realize they've only been allowed into the room she opened. The rest, locked, untouched, off limits, and she's not hiding anything dramatic. It's just how she operates. Her inner world is sacred, and she doesn't offer full access to anyone, not because she's guarded, but because she knows how much of herself is worth protecting. Men who get close to her feel this deeply. At first it's subtle. She's warm, she's present, she listens. She lets you in just enough to make you feel chosen. But somewhere along the way, it becomes clear there's more to her. Much more. And no matter how much time you spend with her, there's always something just out of reach. This isn't about being distant. She can be deeply connected, loving, thoughtful, but there's a line that never gets crossed, a place she doesn't share, and that mystery. It lingers long after she's gone, long after the relationship changes or ends, because it leaves questions behind. Did I really know her? Was there more she never said? She's the kind of woman who can make you feel seen while staying hidden. She gives enough to make it real, but never so much that you feel like you fully have her, and that's what makes her unforgettable. She's not a puzzle to be solved. She's not withholding. She's simply whole on her own. And that quiet self-possession makes men realize she was never trying to belong to anyone. She just let them stand beside her for a while. That truth sits with them, often long after she's moved on. Because when you meet someone who can connect deeply without ever giving everything away, you don't just remember her, you carry her with you. Number 12. Her focus is laser-like, and it makes men reevaluate their own lives. When she's focused, it's like the world around her disappears. Her phone can buzz. Conversations can go on around her. People can try to pull her into distractions, but she doesn't budge. She's locked in tunnel vision, fully present in whatever she's working on. And that level of concentration, it's rare, and men notice it right away. It's not the kind of focus that comes from pressure or fear of failure. It comes from within. She doesn't need anyone pushing her. She pushes herself. Whether she's reading, building something, learning a new skill, or simply getting her life in order, she gives it all her attention. No half steps, no excuses, and it makes people around her stop and think, especially men, because when they see that kind of discipline, it throws their own habits into question. She's not trying to compete with anyone. She's not showing off. But her ability to commit to something without flinching makes them reflect on how often they get distracted, how many things they've started but never finished, how much time they've spent chasing things that didn't matter. And it's not just about ambition. It's the way she chooses herself daily, the way she honors her time, the way she's able to say, "I'm busy," and mean it, not as an excuse, but as a boundary. That self-respect speaks volumes. Men are used to attention being easy to get. With her, they learn quickly. If you don't bring value, you don't get access. It's not that she's cold, it's just that she's clear. She knows what she wants, and she's not here to waste energy watching her stay locked in on her growth, her goals, her peace. It's not just impressive, it's confronting. It makes men realize how scattered their own focus has been, and that realization that can haunt them, because once you've seen that kind of clarity, nothing else feels good enough. Number 13. Consistency is her quiet love language and her filter. She doesn't chase effort. She measures it. She notices who keeps their word when no one is watching, who shows up the same on ordinary days as they do on highlight reels. Promises don't impress her. Patterns do. If you're steady, she relaxes. If you're sporadic, she reassigns your access without a speech. To men, this feels like a test they didn't know they were taking, but she isn't testing. She's tallying alignment. Reliability isn't romanticized, it's required. And when she clocks enough inconsistency, she doesn't complain. She calibrates, and your place in her life changes quietly, permanently. Number 14, she upgrades in private and lets the results introduce her. She doesn't announce a glow-up. She schedules it. One season, she's learning quietly. The next, she's executing cleanly with fewer distractions and lighter circles. You won't see a declaration post or a dramatic speech. You'll notice new boundaries, better habits, sharper peace. Men feel this as distance, but it isn't distance. It's evolution. She doesn't come back to explain the change. She arrives already changed, and the room adjusts. In final words, some people chase attention, others carry something so rare it demands silence. Instead, Sigma females don't always realize the impact they have. That's the thing about authenticity. It doesn't come with a warning. It doesn't ask. It doesn't explain. It just exists. And while they move through life thinking they're just doing their own thing, men are watching quietly, intently, and often feeling shaken by what they see. It's not about beauty in the usual sense. It's not about trying to impress. It's the calm, the independence, the self-respect, the unbothered presence that doesn't need to be the loudest to be the most powerful. Men notice that. And it's not always admiration. Sometimes it's confusion. Sometimes it's discomfort. Because what a Sigma female reflects back is not just charm or confidence, it's clarity. And clarity makes people rethink themselves. If you are a Sigma male watching this, understand this. You are built from the same rare fabric. You notice her because you see her, not as a project, not as a puzzle, but as someone walking a parallel path. You both move in silence, but leave lasting impact. You both value depth over performance. You both understand that real strength does not beg to be seen. It simply refuses to be ignored. So let this remind you, your energy is not invisible. Your stillness, your vision, your refusal to settle, these are not small things. These are your sharpest edges and your strongest armor in a world that rewards noise. Your quiet focus is disruptive, and just like the Sigma female, you don't have to be noticed to be unforgettable. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and never shrink for a world that's still catching up to your kind. Thank you for watching The Rare Gems, and God bless you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'm your host, Alfred, and I read every comment.